Oh, woo. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all cryptocurrency news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. I go by Blind Run on the internet and Matthew in real life. Today we have tons of topics. It's going to be a pretty hefty show as far as topics go, so questions and answers will be quite a bit shorter than normal, and that is basically how it's going to roll today. We have lots of stuff, listings coming from both Flux as well as KASPA, new listings there. We have reports from basically the Steam hardware reports giving us an idea of what GPUs are installed in most gaming PCs, which should give us an idea of what GPUs are going to be hitting the used market when the RTX 40 series comes out. We also have Riot Blockchain selling their Bitcoin, selling off Bitcoin. Obviously, this is going to be a big deal. The biggest news is, of course, the New York State Senate passes the Bitcoin moratorium, and miners are threatening to abandon the state, as they should. GameStop has reported $76 million in proceeds from selling of digital goods, specifically NFTs. Chipotle adopts crypto payment options. Shiba Inu founder deletes all social media information. And the RTX 4090 PCB is leaked. Tons of craziness going on today. Of course, before we get into it, we're going to run the ad because they keep us rolling every morning at 9:45 a.m. Central Time. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Bam! First things first, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 PCB leaked 28 power phases, single 16-pin connector, and NVLink interface design similar to the 3090 Ti reference. NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 4090 graphics card reference PCB has allegedly been leaked and detailed by Igor's Lab once again. Back in March, Igor of Igor's Lab posted what was then assumed to be a block diagram of the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090's PCB. It was stated that the RTX 3090 Ti had been a crucial learning curve for NVIDIA and its AIB partners to ready themselves for the next-gen Ada Lovelace GPU lineup featured on the 40 series. Now we have much more detailed PCB diagram that should be used by the RTX 4090. The RTX 4090 will utilize the AD102 GPU, the flagship within the Ada Lovelace lineup. As per previous rumors, the Ampere GA102 and Ada Lovelace AD102 GPUs are likely to be pin compatible, which means that they can be featured on similar PCB designs or ones with little modifications than to design completely brand new boards. This will allow AIBs to ease down the development process of their next gen 40 series custom models. Excuse me, helping them save production time and money. So here's the reference model PCB. And for, of course, the miners, what we're looking at are the memory modules. It's very similar to the 3090 Ti, which you can see here. And the big thing here is obviously going to be the memory modules on the front of the PCB. Each one of these will hold 2 gigabytes. So we have essentially 12 of them with 2 each, totaling out to 24 gigabytes of GDDR6X, supposedly clocking at 24 gigabytes per second. That would be pretty insane. That might also explain why NVIDIA's RTX 40 Founders Edition coolers, which leaked earlier, look similar to the existing 30 series coolers. Besides some changes to the cooling plate and fin layout, the design almost looks identical. But with that said, the PCB here seems to be an AIB reference design rather than a Founders Edition PCB. The reason is that the PG139 SKU Founders Edition PCB features a V-shaped design, whereas the PG136 SKU comes with the standard rectangular shape. So if you look up here, rectangle, V-shape on the Founders Edition. And that's because of the way they designed, of course, the coolers on the Founders Editions here. And that's because it has that kind of dual fan push-pull kind of configuration going on. Besides that, the PCB blueprint that Igor has churned up based on information from his sources show that the 8102 GPU boards for the RTX 4090 and 4080 are once again going to come in a compact layout. The layout shows a 28-phase power delivery, of which 24 phases have been dedicated to the GPU and PLL, while the remaining 4 phases power the memory. Currently, the RTX 3090 Ti Founders Edition features 21 phases, and both are reference designs. It is likely that the custom models could feature an even higher count if the next bit is true about the power limit. Other than the power phases, there are 12 memory module traces on the front, which would mean that 24 gigabyte capacity rumors are indeed correct. And if NVIDIA wants to go higher, say 48 gigabytes for a workstation variant, they can fill up the backside of the PCB with an additional 12 2 gigabyte modules. Remember, previously on the 3090, they shifted the RTX 3090 from having basically 12 gigabytes of memory on the front, 12 gigabytes of memory on the back, to when they moved to the 3090 Ti, having all 24 gigabytes on the front. They could load it up. More memory is not better for mining than faster and better cooled memory, just to be clear. So your workstation GPUs would probably not be that much more beneficial. You want to keep, obviously, the memory cool in a mining situation. Currently, the 3090 Ti Founders Edition features 21 phases. Oh, we already did that part. There we go. I can track. The NVIDIA RTX 4090 PCB features 4 display outputs, which include a single HDMI and a triple DisplayPort interface, and NVLink connectors, a single 16-pin Gen 5 power plug. This means that we can expect up to 600 watt TDP on the 8102 powered cards. The RTX 4090 itself is said to be rated at around 450 watts, while the 4090 Ti can push things up to the 600 watt limit. Of course, one of the things you want to pay attention to is the aftermarket AIBs and what they decide to do. In some cases, if they're trying to push more power, you will have multiple power connectors. From the mining perspective, since you're mostly going to be affected by the memory performance and the amount of power, picking and choosing the models that have single 16 pins are probably going to be advantageous. Of course, another problem presented for miners here, as we've talked about before, is the new ATX 3.0 standard and a need to upgrade PSUs, power supplies, from the old standard to the new standard to prevent any power spikes damaging your equipment. So don't be planning too heavily on utilizing the adapters in this case, like you did with the 30 series. I would basically caution against that. It is going to make building rigs really interesting, and we'll definitely have to cover it as that gets closer to release, because I think you will have different standards and requirements coming on board there. Now, as far as the total bandwidth, we aren't getting a ton of improvement from the memory side. While the memory speed is going up to 24 gigabits per second from the 21 gigabits per second that we saw on the 3090 Ti, which is currently the fastest, it's only going up to about 1152 gigabytes a second versus the 1008 gigabytes per second. If we open a percent calculator, let me see if I can pull this up here for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. We can kind of get an idea of what the percentage is, right? So we could say, what is 1152 of 1008 That's fine. Calculate that out. That's going to be, did I do that right? I did not do that right. Let's put that in the correct one. Percent difference calculator. Here we go. Calculate that out. We got a 12% increase essentially. Or that's a 12% decrease. Let's switch these over here. Oh, this is easier. Boom. And boom. Calculate that out. 114%. So we would say, what is 114% of 125 mega hash a second? Calculate that out, and you are looking at 142 mega hash a second on these GPUs. Of course, at a higher power consumption, the TGP would be 450, and that faster memory is on only the 4090 Ti, to be clear, not on the 4090, so you do suffer from that 600 watt power increase, but that will be 142 mega hash a second, presumably on the 4090 Ti. Is it worth it for the power? Probably not, right? That's going to be the big question as we sit down with them and they start releasing. Hopefully what this means though is 21 gigabits per second, I would hope, on some of the lower end models. Maybe the 4070 gets faster memory, right? Maybe the 4080 ends up being more enticing. I think there are numbers here for the 4080. No, not yet. So hopefully like we could see the 4080 hitting that 1 terabyte a second of memory speed. Kind of what I'm looking at. Anyways, Shiba Inu founder deletes all social media information, apparently trying to be like Satoshi Nakamoto. However, you know, first of all, it's not an original blockchain. It's not a layer 1 chain. Second of all, it just seems like a publicity stunt to me. I have not been a fan of SHIB from the very get-go. I think most of y'all already know that. So take everything I say here with a grain of salt. If you are a fan of SHIB, you know, more power to you. We're hitting a bear market. This is going to be the time when they get tested, right? Ryoshi, the pseudonymous founder of the Shiba Inu cryptocurrency, deleted all his tweets as well as his personal blog posts earlier today. This was yesterday, I believe, and you can see here if you go to his Twitter, there's no tweets. No tweets. There you go. Crazy. He said, quote, "I'm not important, and one day I will be gone without notice. Take the Shiba and journey upwards, friends," end quote. The creator of the Dogecoin killer wrote. It's not a Dogecoin killer. Dogecoin has proof of work built into it, and it's a layer 1 currency. Yes, it was built as a meme coin, but it's proven to actually, interestingly enough, be more robust than pretty much a lot of other currencies that have come along the way and gone throughout all of our super cycles. The Shiba Inu founder has seemingly chosen to mimic the path of mysterious Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi left the cryptocurrency community in December of 2010. The identity of the person who started it all is yet to be revealed. It's unclear whether Ryoshi plans to return to the Shiba Inu community with new ideas. The founder urged lead developer Satoshi Kusama not to say, quote, worthless nonsense and focus on the ecosystem instead. In a recent tweet, Satoshi says that Shiba Inu project will continue moving forward. The price of SHIB token has been affected by Ryoshi's sudden departure. It is currently up 6%, so it sounds like it was a boost up type deal. Let's go ahead and see where it's at right now. Shiba Inu. We are down 3% today. So it looks like it had that pump, right? That 6% pump, and now it's crashed out, just to be clear. But the whole market's down today, so take that all with a grain of salt. Shiba Inu is currently valued at $6.4 billion US dollars, which makes it the 16th biggest cryptocurrency by market capitalization. The cryptocurrency is down 86% from its record high that was registered in late October. Ryoshi launched Shiba Inu back in August of 2020 and then gifted half of its supply to Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin, who obviously donated that and proved that his dev wallet was accessible, even though they had claimed that it was not. And that was the biggest thing we learned from that donation, in my humble opinion. Chipotle adopts crypto payment option. You like your burritos? You like that keto option? That Chipotle bowl? Well, you can buy it with some digital assets, boys. TLDR is Chipotle set to accept crypto for payments. The restaurant will accept 98 different digital assets, and more restaurants are entering the space. Chipotle will now allow customers who attend or intend to pay for their food, there we go, with digital assets, can do so across the company's chain of restaurants. According to the update by several reporters, customers who intend to use this service can get it across all of its 2,950 branches in the United States. The news has also mentioned that it had employed Flexa, a company that helps with payment services, to oversee all payments using digital assets. The payment company took to Twitter to announce the update yesterday, confirming that traders can now leverage its services to purchase food at the restaurant. Flexa currently supports about 98 digital assets across its platform, and customers can use any one of those assets for payments. However, as of this moment, Chipotle does not have an official announcement that confirms the update. Chipotle has now grown in ranks to become one of the biggest companies pushing into the crypto scene through its team up with Flexa. Others already enjoying the benefits include Regal Theaters and one of the biggest banks in El Salvador, Bancoagricola. I can't say it, I'm sorry. Chipotle has previously dipped its hands in crypto over the last few years. This is evidenced by the last Burrito Day, where it did give away $10,000 worth of digital assets. During the Burrito Day celebration, Chipotle tasked users with getting a combination code right. Should the user succeed under the time frame, they would be open to winning either $25,000 or a free burrito. The game was conducted via a partnership with a famous Ripple engineer, Stephen Thomas. The Ripple executive is renowned for having forgotten the password to a safe that contains more than 7,000 Bitcoin. Presently, the Bitcoin in the safe, which has still not been opened at this time, will be worth more than $208 million US. Besides Chipotle, other restaurants have also begun to push into the crypto sector. One such was the Burger King crypto giveaway in conjunction with Robinhood. The giveaway saw customers win various amounts in Bitcoin and other digital assets. McDonald's, a company that used to be against the crypto sector, has recently announced plans to set up a virtual restaurant in the metaverse where users will be able to purchase real and virtual foods. Merchants have reiterated their resolve to extend their services as more users continue to troop into the market. Although a recent survey puts the number of companies accepting crypto at 4%, the figure could drive up to around 60% in the future. Adoption in a bear market in the crypto winter is amazing. I gotta say, boys, this is a different crypto winter than we saw last time from the adoption perspective, in my humble opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Actually, we'll go ahead and get a questionnaire going on. Is adoption higher this bear market? What do you guys think? Is adoption higher or not this bear market? Boom. All right. So next we have GameStop reports $76.9 million in proceeds from sales of digital assets in the first quarter. The company also confirmed intentions to launch its NFT marketplace in the second quarter. Video game retailer GameStop, reporting its quarterly results, received a cash flow boost of $76.9 million from the sale of IMX tokens it had received as part of its partnership with non-fungible token scaling platform Immutable. Now, Immutable is pretty interesting because obviously they have Gods Unchained, which in my opinion is the most practical way to apply NFTs to the gaming industry, because I think applying that to a trading card space makes a lot of sense. So I've been a fan of Immutable for a while. Their platform does have some pretty awful issues as far as connection, having to utilize their primary wallet. So you have to create a new wallet, you have to connect your MetaMask, send it over from the MetaMask to another wallet. Once it's over there, then you can perform stuff on their enclosed system. And then on top of that, there's some quality of life features that seem to break a lot, like attributes to whatever NFTs you're purchasing seem to not really populate all the time. There is no auction service, which can make things a little bit more difficult. There are some things that need to get fixed on Immutable X. The important part here to understand, though, is this isn't directly GameStop profiting off of cryptocurrency. It is them just basically making this money from the sale of IMX tokens that they partnered with, right? So it's a little weird. It's not like purely just GameStop selling digital goods via cryptocurrency. In February, GameStop sold the IMX tokens it had been granted as part of its deal with Immutable, generating $76.9 million in proceeds. Overall, the company reported negative cash flow for the quarter of $236 million. GameStop also took note of continued steps to support the recent launch of its digital asset wallet and its intention to open its NFT market space in Q2. Speaking on earnings calls, management said the wallet has seen significant downloads from the Chrome App Store. Speaking of, this was one that I meant to get into and I completely forgot. I'm adding it to my list. I forgot. We firmly believe that digital assets are core to the future of gaming, said CEO Matt Furlong. And they might be right. This may be one of those things where you do get a turnaround from GameStop, but is it too little too late? That sort of thing. They don't have a digital marketplace that's strong like something like Steam or even Xbox now at this point, who has gotten into the game and coming in strong with their Game Pass that works on PC as well as on Xbox, etc. You know, Epic's been getting into it. There's a lot of these digital game marketplaces that make more sense, because I think at the end of the day, selling digital licensing as NFTs to play video games makes the most sense, a lot more than selling individual goods within video games, at least in my humble opinion. Now, New York State Senate passes Bitcoin mining moratorium. This is going to affect everybody across the U.S. in my humble opinion. It could spell out good news for obviously states that are going to support cryptocurrency. States like Texas, for example, will benefit from this, I would assume. The state assembly had already passed the bill, which would bar new mining operations powered by carbon-based energy sources for 2 years. The New York State Senate passed a bill targeting proof-of-work mining early Friday morning in an effort to address some of the environmental concerns about cryptocurrency. The bill, which was passed by the state assembly last month, would impose a 2-year moratorium on new proof-of-work mining projects powered by carbon-based fuel in the Empire State. Though existing mining firms or ones currently undergoing the permit renewal process would be allowed to continue operations, the Senate voted 36-27 in favor of the bill. According to the bill's Democratic sponsor, State Senator Kevin Parker of Brooklyn, there is only one such plant in current operation that wouldn't be affected by the bill. He added that there is one pending application that may be put on hold until the study has concluded. During the moratorium, the state will conduct a study on the potential environmental impact of proof-of-work mining. Many had expected the bill to die in committee, the fate met by last year's version of the bill, after the Senate Environmental Conservation Committee declined to consider the bill during its last meeting of the session. The committee's chairman, State Senator Todd Kaminsky, a Democrat from Long Island, told CoinDesk in May that he was worried that the bill could lead to something economic consequences for New York if people perceive it as being hostile to crypto, which it is. And you'll see that here in a second, because miners are threatening to leave. However, an 11th hour referral of the bill from the Environmental Conservation Committee to the Senate Energy and Telecommunications Committee, where Parker is the chairman, on Thursday evening, meant that the bill was able to reach the full Senate floor for a vote mere hours before the close of legislative session at midnight. Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul, something like that, still needs to sign the bill before it can become law. New York has long been seen as a place for crypto mining firms to set up because of the state's cheap hydroelectric energy sources. In more recent years, mining firms have also repurposed defunct coal power generation facilities. Green Ridge Generation, for example, refurbished one such facility to operate using natural gas. The crypto industry rallied against the bill after its assembly counterpart was introduced last May, with many industry advocates calling the proposal a ban on mining outright. John Olson, a lobbyist with the Bitcoin Association, told CoinDesk last month that he feared the moratorium could be extended or turned into a ban over the course of the next 2 years, which could drive away companies seeking to set up shop near New York's cheap energy sources. Mining companies based in New York have threatened to leave the state if the moratorium is passed, and we have more on that coming up, pointing to the comparative ease of doing business in more mining-friendly states like Texas, as mentioned. Here we go. So miners are threatening to abandon New York as state gives a nod to Bitcoin mining ban. Crypto miners are in for a major showdown with legislators. The relatively low cost of providing electricity in New York is rapidly making the state a flourishing hub for cryptocurrency miners. However, several locations' environmental organizations have voiced concerns about the impact of pollution as a result of the state's fast growth. On Friday, the New York State Legislature enacted a bill that prohibits new permits for certain fossil fuel power facilities to be used in Bitcoin mining. For any new proof of work mining, the bill, which passed the lower house earlier this year, mandates a 2-year ban. Concerns over crypto mining's impact on the environmental account for the majority of grievances with the industry. So the Senate voted 36-27. We got that. They banned it, sort of, obviously with like traditional coal-powered plants, that sort of thing. It doesn't appear to affect hydro plants. To me, this sounds like a lot of extra control and red tape to go around who and who cannot mine within the state. So from the perspective of a Bitcoin miner who advocates for the Bitcoin fundamentals and decentralization and access to the ability to mine, in my humble opinion, to everyone, the public, this is a problem, right? Because this is basically just the government trying to regulate and pick and choose who they think is available. This means, obviously, the people in the know, the top 1%, the people that are already in control of the fiat system are trying to govern who and who cannot basically participate within the crypto system. And that's really what this is about, in my humble opinion. So miners threatened to leave the Big Apple. On Friday, several new media outlets disclosed that mining companies based in upstate New York have threatened to go elsewhere if the proposed ban is passed. And it was passed. So let's see if they put their money where their mouth is. If the measure passes, New York will be a permanent afterthought for the Bitcoin miners and the sector as a whole, according to Kyle Schneps, Chief of Public Policy for Foundry, one of the largest miners in the United States. In an effort to reduce the state's carbon impact, the bill's supporters argue that filthy energy sources are to blame. I disagree, because that was obviously the entire point, was going there for the hydroelectric, which is a clean energy source. Like, if that's the entire point to put the Bitcoin mining in there, it just doesn't make sense. It's not logically consistent. In response to the measure, the Blockchain Association launched a campaign, there we go, to oppose the moratorium. In a tweet, Barry Silbert, CEO of Digital Currency Group, stated that, quote, "This bill is a job killer and sends a horrible message to crypto entrepreneurs," end quote. Clark, interim president and chief strategy officer at industry trade organization BASIC, described the law as a dark day for blockchain technology, effectively slamming the door on a nascent industry. Meanwhile, miners and defenders of crypto also fear that proposed prohibition could set off a chain reaction in the US, leading to similar laws in other states. Nearly 40% of the world's hash rate currently comes from the US. But we all know how this goes, because this has been going the same way with all of the policies in the United States. And that is New York, California, and everybody does one thing, and Texas and Florida and like West Virginia and some others that don't matter do a completely opposite. That is what's been going on in the United States if you've not been paying attention. So the hash rate will continue to migrate to states that support cryptocurrency. And I think that it will be at the detriment of the states that do not support cryptocurrency, and I think it's also going to affect, obviously, the politicians that are to blame here. So make sure, if you are in New York State, you're going and checking out who's sponsoring, who voted in favor, who voted against, and then get out there in November and vote, because we have that coming up, right? We have a super chat from Techie Rod, $5. Thank you. Techie Rod says, morning boys. What's going on, dude? All right. But mining is not doing that great, right? We talked about this yesterday. We've talked about it pretty much all week. The problem of large cryptocurrency miners having to, deal with the problem of capital in general. And what this is driving, just like every other bear market, is the sell-off of more Bitcoin. And that continues as we get a report of Riot blockchain selling more Bitcoin, trims hash rate guidance. It's the miner's third consecutive month of Bitcoin sales. Riot blockchain continued to raise cash via the sale of Bitcoin, unloading more than half of the Bitcoin it mined in May. One of the largest of the publicly traded Bitcoin miners, Riot, in May mined 466 Bitcoins, about 8% fewer than April, but more than double the year ago level. The company sold 250 Bitcoins in May, raising about $7.5 million, or an implied price of around roughly $30,000 each. It's the third consecutive month of Bitcoin sales for the previously confirmed holder, as the company also sold 250 Bitcoins in April and 200 in March. Reflecting the near continuous decline in the price of Bitcoin as of late, those sales raised $10 million and $9.4 million respectively, versus the $7.5 million raised in May. As the end of May, Riot still held about 6,536 Bitcoin on its balance sheet. With the bear market still in force in both traditional finance and crypto, capital markets are turning unfriendly. And Riot is hardly the only miner raising cash from sales of its mined Bitcoin. Turning to production details, Riot said it currently has about 43,458 miners online with a hash rate capacity of 4.6 exahash per second, and expects to soon reach 5.4 exahash a second after deploying another 7,000 rigs. The company trimmed its 2023 hash rate guidance to 12.6 exahash a second, which assumes deployment of 116,150 mining rigs. That's down from the previous outlook of 12.8 exahash a second and 120,150 rigs. Riot shares are down 70% this year, in line with peers such as Marathon Digital and Core Scientific. Now, one of the things that gets really, really interesting here is if you have that much Bitcoin, and I think like all miners are having to learn this. There's a lot of newer ones. There's the public funding, all that sort of stuff. What happened to like getting a bunch of cash on the balance sheet during a bull run? It's clear that the bull runs are going to happen. It's clear that it's about a 300% gain, right? Something like that. It goes up from 8,000 on the previous high to 21,000, then from 21,000 to like 69,000. It's always somewhere around there. I would presume in 2024, well, probably late 2024, early 2025, we would start to see something around the space of $180,000 Bitcoin, somewhere around there. So, if you're a miner and you're mining a whole bunch, how much do you take out and put like on a cash balance sheet and transfer out of crypto in preparation for the inevitable, just traditional super cycle, right? It's kind of surprising that a lot of these larger companies didn't do it. I know, like, I didn't do it, so I made the mistake too, but I'm just one dude, right? You would think that you would be sitting down in a board meeting and going like, yo, like we've run the numbers and this seems to happen the same time every time, exactly in the same exact way. Like, should we go ahead and sell out and get some, more here? Should we take all this capital and set it aside for when we can purchase a whole bunch of miners a lot cheaper? Should we be doing that sort of thing? You know what isn't red today. You know what is just a mooning and was an amazing spec mined coin. I hope you guys got in when we were talking about it a long time ago. That's KASPA, boys. KASPA, a spec mineable coin that I've been mining for a while. My node is still running, and it has gone up another 120%. It's been absolutely nutty. It's at basically, what is it? Half 5/10 of a cent. What is that? Half a cent. KASPA to $1, boys. That's what's going to happen. I don't really know that. I'm just making stuff up. But if you guys haven't gotten into KASPA yet, you should definitely check it out. It's optical proof of work. It's been listed on 2 different exchanges right now, TextBit, and I am blanking on the second one, which is the one you should be utilizing. Let me go get it for you guys real quick. Let me pull that up. So TextBit is fully KYC'd, just to be clear. They are on another exchange, which is Exhibitron, and I've tested both out. I KYC'd myself on TextBit, and then, of course, Exhibitron has no KYC, so I recommend Exhibitron. I'll link that to you guys because the coin market cap listing for it specifically is the only one that it only has TextBit, right? So if you want the non-KYC version, there you go. Yes, Detroit, I was talking about that. I've listed that over here for you guys as well. I think it's a little, let's see, we can pull this up, right? Yeah. So it's, I think it's also cheaper over here. What were the last buys and sells? Nope, the buy price is at it's at the same price over here too. So they're starting to even out. I will not lie, I was able to transfer some into here, make a lower purchase, and send it over to. Right now, it's early enough to where you can play the exchange game because they haven't always stayed exactly the same, meaning there was a significant price difference between both of the exchanges for KASPA, and you're able to profit off that a little bit. So keep that in mind. It's possible. Here's the KASPA website. They need to update it. They don't have lists for the wallet or anything like that. I think there's like wallet.kaspa. You can go to the Discord as well. I recommend just going to kaspanet.org and then getting connected up in their Discord for all of their information and resources and all of that. So I'm excited about KASPA for sure. I have a lot of it, so full disclaimer on that. It is what it is. KASPA is mineable. It's been mineable for a while. You can either solo mine it, or I believe now there are also mining pools. Let me go look. There is at least one mining pool listed on mining pool stats, and then you can check the Discord for other ones. It's a 2% fee. It's still solo mineable. And if you want to go build a node, which is what I'm doing, I'm running a node and mining to it. I think that that's a better play than paying the 2% on the pool. You do have to set up a custom configuration within Hive OS, but it's not that difficult. Or alternatively, what you can do too is, I think it was BZ Miner, and then you can utilize this ACC pool. So there you go. We have another listing too. Binance.us lists Flux, also Spell, but the big one is Flux, and it is an ERC20 version of Flux. Not as good as Crypto.com, in my humble opinion. So to give you guys an idea of like what's happening with Flux and their listings, Flux's parallel assets are getting listed right now. It's very, very odd, but just to give you an idea, as opposed to being able to directly send flux to crypto.com, which I'm actually working on a video for you guys right now for liquidation, the cheapest liquidation of flux right now for me, what seems to work best is using Fusion within the ZIL Core wallet, swapping my flux off of flux and wrapping it essentially into the Binance Smart Chain version of flux, the BSC wrapped token, and then sending that to crypto.com, which then shows up as flux within the crypto.com app and liquidating from there. So Binance.us getting ERC20 version of flux, cool, but your fees not going to be worth it compared to utilizing the Binance Smart Chain wrapped flux and sending that to crypto.com. I know, confusing because we're talking about Binance double, but in completely different sections. Check out my video on like, why are there so many coins? And I go over distinctions between essentially your tokens, your coins, your wrapped coins that are basically tokens of another coin on a different blockchain. It can get confusing. I understand it. Understand that. What I'm trying to explain here is that you're better off doing Fusion into a Binance wrapped or a BSC. I'm just going to say BSC to reduce confusion because that's how it's listed in the Fusion wallet. Using Fusion within the ZIL Core wallet to wrap your flux into BSC and sending the BSC wrapped flux to crypto.com to liquidate. That is currently the least amount of fees and the best way for miners to get their money out of flux after they've mined it. Now, obviously, there's other stuff that you could be doing with your flux if you want to run nodes or if you want to rent services like we've talked about for running servers. That sort of thing, that's all separate. You can do that. I just think it's not as good of an idea to wrap your flux onto the Ethereum blockchain due to fees and then send that to Binance.us. I think you will get more money out of wrapping it in BSC and sending it to crypto.com. Hopefully I articulated that well enough to where the ones that understand it, and we're good. I want to say thank you to Mastermind for the $3 Canadian super chat. So then we have NVIDIA's high-end GeForce RTX 3080 and 3070 gain market share big time on Steam, and 6-core CPUs outpace quad-core, becoming the new PC gaming standard. So Steam has basically a chart of all of the parts that are being utilized within gaming PCs. This is significant for miners because what we are seeing here shortly is a new release of GPUs, not only from NVIDIA, but also AMD. What this means is that gamers will be upgrading. This is extra significant due to the fact that the previous couple years, the previous generation of GPUs, specifically the RX 6000 series and the RTX 30 series, were widely unavailable due to not only market conditions and supply chain issues, but because of the demand for cryptocurrency mining. What this ended up interpreting into was gamers holding on to older GPUs for longer, specifically 20 series and 10 series GPUs. As a miner during a bear market, what you're going to be looking for is the best opportunities. So what we can gather from here is what GPUs are stored in basically gaming PCs that will be being upgraded for, of course, the new RTX 40 series and of course RX 7000 series. I would presume the 40 series is going to be more popular because, like we've seen, NVIDIA does hold a large market share in the discrete GPU market. We'll have to see what happens there. I want to say thanks to Dave for the $19.99 super chat and Rock Guy for the 40 something. I can't see it over here because of the glare. And I will answer the questions at the end of the show. Let's get into this, though. So what we have here is during May, NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3080 and 3070 graphics cards gained the biggest market share on Steam, respectively. These cards are followed by the RTX 3060 as well as the GTX 1070, which is quite an old GPU, but still decent for most cost-friendly audiences that are usually a good choice for reselling to an upgraded graphics card. Now, I think the GTX 1070 is one we want to keep an eye on because that one might start getting upgraded, right? Reason being is that it's extremely good on Flux, but we'll also start talking about this a little bit more too. What you have here is basically charts of GPUs and their market share, right? So we have two charts here. We kind of have the largest growth charts. So over here on the right column is basically the GPU and how much more of the Steam market install base it's holding, right? So the 3080, thanks to, of course, the decrease in price and the availability, seems to be what the gamers that are deciding to upgrade now are moving to, with 0.24% increase in share of the install base for Steam. The RTX 3070 coming in second at a 0.19%, and the 1070 up to 0.18%. Obviously, you have the 3060 here. The 5700 is starting to show up as well, which is probably old gamers also selling off. The 1070 and 5700 were really, really popular for that. So these are pretty interesting charts. What we can also see here is basically an increase of everybody's kind of starting to finally phase out their DirectX 11 GPUs and move into DirectX 12 as expected. Overall video cards, what we can see here though is what cards are starting to sell. And this is extremely interesting for the mining perspective, right? If it's green over here, we know it's not selling, right? People aren't uninstalling them necessarily. So the GTX 1060 has slowed down in growth, but is still being increasing the amount of them coming on the network. The 1650, however, is going down. Not that great for miners. 1050 Ti going down, not that great for miners. What's good for miners though? The 2060 potentially, right? Because we have enough memory in that. So that's an interesting one to take a look at. We could, then pull up what to mine. We could pop into here and show, get an idea of what the 2060 is doing. And calculate that out. And then we could see, on ETH, it's 50 cents a day. On Ethereum Classic, it's 30 cents a day. Apparently, there's a big pump in Ethereum Classic. These charts can be extremely useful because what you do know from this fact is that people are getting rid of these specific cards. So once you start hitting Facebook Marketplace, eBay, that sort of thing, you'll know that there's a higher supply than there is a demand for these specific cards. So even if you're a miner that doesn't play video games, I would encourage you to get these Steam charts installed so that you can review this throughout the bear market and see which GPUs are getting liquidated, which GPUs you have more bargaining power purchasing. And I think that's going to be extremely advantageous for you as a miner, right? You're going to be able to be like, okay, well, I know these are getting bought up a lot. So I'm going to pass on those. Let me see what else is available here, right? Now, as far as other GPUs to keep an eye on, there are more 2070 Supers coming on the Steam network, I suppose is what we'll call it. But the 2070 Super would be an amazing one. The 1070, obviously, like we said, is going up. I think the best option right now, if you were going to buy right now, as an example of a low demand that people are trying to get rid of, it would be the 2060. Hopefully we see other options, like I said, 2080 Ti's, other 20 series cards start to follow suit, right? And by and large, like you can look here, the numbers for the 2080 Ti are starting to go down. 1080 Ti is still kind of maintaining, but hopefully what we see is more 20 series GPUs. Those are also a good option, just plainly from the perspective that they function really good on Flux, which will be around after Ethereum. Hopefully that gives you guys an idea of kind of how I'm looking at it, what I'll be looking at during the bear market, and trying to find that perfect balance of a GPU that performs well at mining whatever currency I decide I want to mine, while also being in basically high supply and low demand. And I'll be utilizing, obviously, the gaming market, which will start to take off again, to determine which cards those will be. For example, the 5700 was one that was, easy for me to find an entry point into. Will that be the 2060 this time? Will that be the 2080 Ti? It's yet to be seen. I presume it will be a 20 series that will be most enticing. Maybe the 1070s, highly doubtful though. Let's talk about mining profitability. I did get a lot more rigs online, which is good. Our current's 5.4 gigahash. I did get it up to 6 gigahash overnight, which was nice. So our 24 average is now 5.17. Our 3-hour average is 5.57. It's getting us 0.07 ETH a day and 115 Zilica a day. That's a total of 128 US dollars a day. I'm sure you guys saw my video last night. Obviously, we've had a $28 a day increase thanks to getting more rigs online and more stable. That being said, I still have a couple rigs to go over. I'll show you guys here. So the big ones are going to be, we have an error on this one, which apparently GPU 1 needs to be taken a look at. And then we have some that are starting to dip down. It's getting into the heat of the day. So this is usually when we start getting close to, really here in another hour, we'll have like essentially the lowest hash rate that we'll ever have throughout the day. I have attention required on one GPU here and one GPU offline. I also have one GPU offline on this rig. So I have a total of 3 GPUs to get online there. And then I have 2 1660 supers that are offline that I got to get online. And I want to get my 1063 gigs back online. Spec mining, of course, KASPA. So that's it. The farm's looking way better than it did yesterday. Obviously over 1.5 gigahash back online. And someone asked earlier in the stream, did you sleep much? I did not sleep much. I was working at the farm. So that's what I did last night because my wife got back into town and I was able to finally sneak out and like get some dedicated, no kiddo distraction at the farm. So that's what I was working on. Let's take a look at mining pool stats and kind of see what's going on with that. The big boy Bitcoin, as always, we want to take a look at. It's at 228 exahash a second. We've dropped 2 exahash a second off of the network. It has not corresponded to a difficulty drop quite yet, but hopefully we will see that. That's interesting that we are seeing a drop in Bitcoin hash rate. Is that due to the moratorium in New York? Maybe, possibly. I do not know. It would be surprising if that was that much hash rate that quickly just because of New York. Ethereum's at 1.07 petahash a second. And that is down, of course, from yesterday by 0.02. Let's take a look at Ethereum Classic, which is at 25.68 exahash or terahash a second. Exahash a second on Ethereum Classic would be absolutely insane. There is a recent drop in difficulty as well. So that's one to note. Flux is at 1.43 mega solutions a second, about 0.07 mega solutions a second lower than yesterday. And Ergo, let's take a look at the Ergo 14.37 terahash a second, and the difficulty is back up on that delayed difficulty chart. Let's take a look at Ravencoin. And Ravencoin's at 2.42 terahash a second. And I know everybody's wanting to look at Super Zero, which is at 65.67 gigahash a second. Here's the warning, I guess, is that we had that big spike in hash rate and then it came back down. So the people that are trying Cero, for whatever reason, it doesn't appear to be happening as much as people would hope. Let's correct ZIL hash, or let's hit defaults first. Let's hit the 3090. Let's hit the ZIL hash up to 110, Kapow 60, ProgPow 60, Thero 60, cost 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Calculate this out. Cero is still showing at the top with $2.58 in revenue. and $1.79 a day after power, which is a little less than Ethereum, which is at $2.57 a day in revenue, but because of the lower power, it's at $1.80 a day after power, so in profit. Firo is at $2.30 a day in revenue, $1.56 a day after power. Ravencoin at $2.28 a day in revenue, $1.49 after power. Conflux at $2.07 a day in revenue, $1.28 after power. Nice has ZIL hash, so that's Flux at $2.07 a day in revenue, $1.37 a day after power. Ergo is $1.94 a day in revenue and $1.32 a day after power. And Ethereum Classics down here, $1.81 a day in revenue, $1.04 after power. Xano is showing that the coin stats were updated more than an hour ago and may be outdated, so just a note on that. Flux, if you mine it directly by itself, is way down here, $1.72 a day in revenue and $1.03 a day after power. Now, before I get into questions and answers, we are going to run the ad and then we'll answer questions. That being said, to be clear, super chats are never required, always appreciated, first to be answered. So there you go. And then tagging at Son of a Tech will highlight my name orange, making it easier for me to pick it out of the chat. So super chats are guaranteed answers, to be clear, as long as it's in before I end the show. Tagging at Son of a Tech is the best chance of me replying to a question, but it's not guaranteed. I kind of want to make that clear because depending on how much, is getting asked, sometimes it's just too much for me to get to. All right. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Boom. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching that ad. So the first question from a super chat was from Rock Guy. He said, thoughts on ADA, so Cardano versus Solana in the long run. Well, Solana has a proven track record of going down and being extremely unreliable. Its proof of stake mechanism for the consensus is inferior from all accounts to Cardano. I would put Cardano ahead of that. Cardano also has a lot of systems and integrations with other coins that I think will be more advantageous. And I think that Charles Hoskinson is a genuine person. So if we're having to choose leaders of cryptocurrencies, which I would say makes them more of a security and less of a cryptocurrency, I suppose Charles ain't such a bad guy in my humble opinion. He seems to have a level head and not be as egotistical as most of the others within the space. So I'd go Cardano personally, and that's not financial advice. That's just from my experience there. Now we have 100 AED. Tell me what currency that is. Says, thanks for introducing me to KASPA. Thank you for watching the show, and I hope it paid off for you. All right. Let's see. Gandalf Gray says, is KASPA GPU mineable? Yes, it's GPU mineable, and I have not done a setup guide. Mastermind says, ask Son of a Tech, any reason why you're using red miner, use NB miner, which much more stable in hotter conditions. Red miner. First of all, we're using LOL miner primarily, except for I have one rig that I was able to get stable on R mode for Team Red Miner. And that is my Octo Miner rig out of all conditions, which If you're running 5700s and can get R mode running, you reduce your temperatures by 10 degrees Celsius across the board is what I've noticed. So it's a lot less power, or a lot less heat hungry if you can get R mode functioning. The problem is that in most cases it's been very unreliable for me. MC says, Ask Son of a Tech, can you also run ZIL if you're converting ETH to Bitcoin? Well, I don't understand how you would function that, because I assume you're using two miners to convert the ETH to Bitcoin. But if you're just selling your ETH for Bitcoin after you get paid out in ETH, then yeah, there's no problem there. Let's see here. Gobbles the 13th Goblin says, at Son of a Tech, not crypto related, but we're having more issues with YouTube, and YouTuber named The Act Man is covering what is happening. Would you check out his recent video when you have time? Sure. I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but I don't mind checking it out. Ifti Iman says, Ask Son of a Tech, which is the best card, budget, efficient, future-proof in terms of mining crypto? That is an impossible question to answer without deep diving what's going to happen here in the future. Like I said, the thing that you're looking for is going to be the opportunity, right? Like I could tell you the 2080 Ti would be the best bet because of its performance on Flux and post-merge. That makes a lot of sense. But first of all, I don't know if Flux is going to survive, right? I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying I can't guarantee that. I don't know that it will be the most profitable. I do not know the future projections of what Flux would be doing there. I don't know if everybody is going to be trying to buy the 2080 Ti's, thereby making it too expensive to make sense to purchase for mining Flux. And that would be an example of a card that I would say would make a lot of sense, what I would be keeping an eye out for, but, you know, might not be the best plan, right? Once again, you're going to be looking for those cards that other people are ignoring. That'll give you that kind of competitive advantage when going out and purchasing them for your negotiations. That sort of thing, right? That's going to be what you're looking for. Mastermind says, Ask Son of a Tech, how do you like the Octo boxes considering switching the farm to them? I like them a lot. You know, I've had one fan die, which wasn't too big of a deal. There will be a vlog video covering that this evening, actually, that I recorded last night. So stop in for that. Chadwick's Racing says, Ask Son of a Tech, since R mode, I am able to do Toncoin dual mining now. Nice. I still can't seem to get all of my cards reliable on R mode, unfortunately. Wet Miner says, Ask Son of a Tech, I'm donating Ergo hash. Are you getting it? I do not know because I wasn't mining Ergo right now, so I haven't pulled that up. Are you doing it on GetBlock? I appreciate it. Thank you. Chili says, Ask Son of a Tech. Oh, hey, stranger. Hi, Chili. Replied to my email. Okay, I'll take a look at it. We have a $50 super chat. Holy moly, keeping the channel alive. Twisted Blockchain over here says, formally get money, Facebook. I have 18 EVGA 12 gigabyte 3080s. I can return 6 of them that aren't open. I ever heard you mention problems with light hash rate. Please explain. The 12 gigabyte models of the 3080s are light hash rate version 3.0. which means their max unlock potential right now is 90%. There's no sign of them getting to 100% currently. That is similar to the RTX 3050. Now, all the other light hash rates, LHR 2.0 and below, have full 100% unlocks that are quite reliable via NB Miner, T-Rex Miner, as well as LOL Miner. So that's pretty much where it's at. That being said, that is only ET hash coins, ET hash, ETC hash, and Ergo. So you do have other algorithms that the 3080 12 gigabytes will function on at full speed. For example, like Flux, right? So that's just kind of how it rolls out. We have Ted Park with a $20 Canadian super chat. Says, at Son of a Tech, look, he super chats and tags at Son of a Tech. Man, that's what I like to see. Makes it easy. What is the highest ambient temperature in your mining farm before problems start to appear? Probably, like, honestly, it can get really hot. I have to actually go get a thermometer to check it out more. I was running it off of what was on my Dell, specifically, and I have seen temperatures get as high as 140 degrees Fahrenheit during the day in the farm. And problems really start around 120 degrees. Yeah. So we have 360 concurrent viewers. Thank you. That's a really good performance for this bear market winter. We all going to make it. That's what I'm going to say. If we could get, what would that be? 150, 190 likes. That would be half a 50% click-through rate on that like button. That would be awesome. Matt Plumey says, Ask Son of a Tech, what are your thoughts on the NVIDIA 3060 Ti Founders Edition? I am running 5 of them right now and getting about $6 a day. I got them for $400 at Best Buy. I mean, I have no like qualms with them, right? Obviously, the Founders Edition is going to be super nice compared to the other ones, other than fan replacements, which is not super nice on the Founders Editions. But the fans don't seem to die that often on the Founders Editions either, compared to like, I don't know, the PNYs, which die all the time. Specifically on the 30 series, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, cool. It's gonna, you know, I don't know that I would be going out personally and purchasing at MSRP from Best Buy, Newegg, Micro Center, any of those right now. I would be sitting there paying attention to the used market, the Steam charts, start seeing what cards the gamers are selling to upgrade their rigs with, and preparing to Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and eBay the crap out of them and talk them down as they're trying to get their 40 series money saved up, and they just want to sell that 2080 Ti that they've been sitting on for 2 years, and they're super impatient. That's the thing. You're going to capitalize on gamers' impatience to upgrade. That is what you're going to do. And then when it comes around to the bull run and they start blaming miners for purchasing all their cards, you're going to say, I'm the one that purchased the card from you so you could upgrade the 40 series. So sit down, motherfucker. I already bought them. Welcome to the next bull run. Kogan says Zotac fans as well. Terrible. Yes, sir. Well, Zotac is the one that was like, you know what I think's a good idea? Putting a plastic backplate on a 3090. That's what Zotac did. Tonoli says that Son of a Tech will ban on mining affect current bear market. You know, as in respect to New York, I don't think so, because New York has already been pretty crappy to the cryptocurrency industry, which is interesting because it was a really big mecca early on for cryptocurrency. And they have had some of the most stringent rules, some of the worst burdens for cryptocurrency traders, developers, anybody in the industry. And adding this mining moratorium onto it is, you know, I think honestly a moot point, because we have essentially Texas kind of sitting here ready to take on all the hash power to upgrade their power grid, right? So I think that's really what it is. Steam is an application that you can download that is for purchasing video games digitally. So you can go to the Steam website, you can just search Steam video games, it'll come right up, download it, and then essentially within Steam there's a stats page, and you want to go to that stats page and pull up the equipment and start seeing what the changes are. We were showing that earlier on the, let me see if I can pull that tab open up for you again. We were reviewing that earlier right here, and the numbers, what I was trying to explain to you guys is what you want to be looking for so you can start seeing what the demand is, right? So the RTX 2060, there's less installs. People are taking 2060s out of their system to upgrade to Like over here, you can sort it, and the install base is the 3080s. So right now a 3080 would be in higher demand. So you wouldn't want to be purchasing 3080s. You would want to be purchasing 2060s, for example. That's just an example. Obviously, you need to run the numbers on what to mine. You need to think about this critically. It's up to you. You need to figure it out. But what I can give you are some tools that will give you hints at what's in demand and what's not. And it's going to be extremely important during the bear market, right? Because you're going to want to make sure that you're buying the best card that's possible that's not in high demand by gamers. That's what you're going to want to do, because you'll get the best deals on them. You'll get the best negotiating power out of it. Mastermind says, Ask Tech, I just switched my boxes with ASIC fans. You should do the same. Will help keep cool. 6,500 RPMs. I do have the ASIC mining fans on most of them. Server fans, technically. But, yeah. It is what it is. We got about 4 minutes left. If you need to get in a question, let me know. And then we are going to be headed to jiu-jitsu. And by we, I mean me. I'm going to head to jiu-jitsu. And you should go get a workout in, too. $2060 selling for $350 on Facebook. Okay. 350 is not bad. I think you can get lower. I think you could easily get lower, right? For the power on the fans, you can check. I think RPM did the whole power difference between an open air frame and the Octo miners. So Red Panda Mining has that up. Obviously, you will be utilizing more power on the fans, but you know, if that helps you stay more reliable, spend less on other things, maybe large fans, that sort of thing. No, I haven't been looking into Avalanche Twisted. Gobble says, Ask Tech, would you ever make a video on your jiu-jitsu class? Not necessarily. I mean, there's other people that do a lot of I've been in a jiu-jitsu video with, was it Daiba Jiu-Jitsu, which I can link for you guys. I wouldn't say it's a great video, but if you want to see me getting choked out in examples, there is a video that you can go watch, and I will share that with you guys. But if I do, I'll probably be guesting over there. I know he wants me to come on his podcast as well. Mastermind says he's training at Gracie Barra. Nice. Just started new to jiu-jitsu. Keep going, don't quit. Just like mining, right? Felix Moore says, Ask Tech, do you think the 3060 would perform good after the merge? The used market is almost near MSRP. I think obviously getting things under MSRP would be where you want to be. Will the 3060 be good? Yeah, I think it has potential. Knowledge is Power says, Ask Tech, got fired yesterday from a 2-stripe. I fired yesterday. Got what? Submitted? From a 2-stripe white belt who cranked my arm too hard on an arm bar. Now I'm out of training till my elbow heals. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, man. Kind of just... part of the game, but you kind of hope that, like, obviously you got to be careful with a lot of white belts, especially wrestling white belts, because they're really good, but they're also quick. They have previous experience, but they have that not with submissions, right? Got to be careful. Sometimes, like, I'll even just be like, if it's someone I'm worried about, I'll be like, hey, can we just start sitting? And I'll tell them I'm just going to flow or something like that. Jesse says, Ask Tech, where should I look to find 10 series cards thermal pad sizes? I usually just measure them myself. So I'll take the card apart and use calipers. I have a video on utilizing calipers to measure thermal pad size. and that's your best bet. The Chilled Zone says, Ask Tech, no bank in the Midwest wants to open a bank account for my crypto business. Any suggestions? I don't have a bank account for my crypto business either. I use crypto.com. Unfortunately, that is the only option I've really found other than Coinbase Pro, which I'm looking into right now as well, specifically for the business side of things. Things in Texas hopefully are starting to open up, but like I know my credit union won't. I know a couple of the other banks I've checked. Most national banks won't. It's a little difficult. Kirby the Kirby says, Ask Tech, been spec mining QRL. The hash rate just got destroyed a few days ago per mining pool stats. I remember QRL. I haven't spec mined it or anything though, or mined it at all. MC says, Ask Tech, my cousin owns a jiu-jitsu gym in San Diego. If you're ever in the area, let me know. I would love to. I haven't been in California in a long, long time. Knowledge is power says, Ask Tech, I meant injured. Sorry for the typo. Yeah, I think I got that after I read it all. Papa Lib says, Ask Tech, I think in the past you said you had your exhaust fans already. Are you needing your power upgrade first, or is the landlord taking care of it but dragging their feet? So, I do not have. It's going to be two different locations. So I'm in a temporary location that I think I'm going to have to do exhaust fans in. What I've done right now is just removed a panel out of the bay door and putting exhaust fans in there. That being said, I don't know if it's the landlord or the power company, but I think it might be the power company upgrading to 3-phase that's taking the longest. Felix says, are you blue belt now? Turn your shin to the shoulder to avoid the rear naked choke. So no, I'm a 3-stripe white belt. We'll see what happens. I think my gym does belt promotions twice a year, in the summer in June. So I guess this month, mid this month, and then they do it in December as well. Gobble says, Ask Tech, last question. Since you play jiu-jitsu, have you practiced the parent forms of judo? I have, but not like I haven't gone to a judo class, right? So, very basic, whatever judo takedowns are taught in class. But to be honest, I just do wrestling. So I think personally, just really solid. There's two plans. In competitions, I've pretty much just always pulled guard or deep half, right? That being said, what I practice primarily is wrestling takedowns. They just seem to be, you can hit them better, especially at lower levels. There's less risk. Obviously, with a double leg, I suppose you have more risk of a guillotine or whatever. But an ankle pick, there's almost no risk for ankle pick. So I've worked on ankle pick a lot, and then pulling guard and deep half. Should you buy, says Ask Tech, do you play StarCraft? I used to play a lot of StarCraft, but I haven't played in a long time. Doc Duggan says, Ask Tech, do you talk about Elon, Tesla, ETH, Bitcoin pump, spend one, get two? A scam? No, I haven't talked about the scams in a while. But yeah, I think wrestling takedowns are the best to practice. I could be wrong. And a judo guy will kick my ass for sure in takedowns. It just is what it is, right? I think judo probably takes the longest to practice as far as for takedowns. And they're extremely tricky. All right, boys, hit the like, hit the comment, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Share the channel out with your friends, family, and all of that so that we can continue to provide you with the content that we are. I did get a specific, apparently Google or YouTube has assigned me a representative to help grow the channel. I don't really understand, but I have a meeting with them today. We'll see what they say. In addition to that, the clips have been moved to another channel so that you only get original content on this channel, meaning that notification bell should be a lot less scary for you to click that notification bell, so because there won't be any repeat content. So everything that is from this channel is on the Crypto Clips channel. We're still a couple thousand hours away from monetizing it. I need your help getting that channel monetized, because moving the clips off of this channel has hurt the monetization on this channel. So I would appreciate it very, very much if you could help get that channel monetized so that the clips are monetized. It's not going to be a ton of revenue, but hopefully it starts growing, and then we'll have that clips channel set up. And then of course we'll have this. The best thing to do, of course, if you have a specific, segment from the morning show that you liked, that you want to share out, and you want to just share that clip out, it'll be on the clips channel. So there you go. Once again, I'll see you next Tuesday, and I'll post that channel right now. Yep. It was posted as well. It is in the description too, but let's go ahead and post it over here as well so that you guys are ready. There we go. And I'll even just pin it real quick. I should pin it every day, but there you go. There's the link to the Crypto Mining Show Clips channel. I think it's doing pretty good. Personally, pretty happy with it. I think it's done like 28,000 views for the month, and Metal Miner is running that channel. So he's doing all of the clipping, all of the thumbnails, all of that. So a huge shout out to him. Once it's monetized, also I'll be discussing with him how much we can send him, because I appreciate his work a lot. So that's where we're at as far as that goes. And I think he's doing a better job at thumbnails than I do on this main channel. So there you go. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Vlog tonight. Hopefully review of a video card tomorrow. I'll be putting in some work on budgeting this week though too, because I got to get my budget in line if I'm going to survive. See you next Tuesday. No migration next week. I want to talk to Red Panda Mining. I have to get him on board for us to be successful.